Hi, my name is Kai Armstrong. I'm the product manager for the editor group in the create stage of the DevOps lifecycle here at GitLab. And we are going to talk about what's coming up from the editor group in the 12.9 release. So I'm going to go ahead and share a screen here. We'll pop right into the release board for 12.9 for the editor group. And so um, there's a lot of work going on with snippets. We talked about snippets in the last kickoff video. I'll link that down below so you can see some more on that. But if we take a look at everything that's happened with snippets, we're working on moving snippets out of the database and into Git back repositories. And then from there, we'll be adding support for multiple files to that. And so you can see a lot of work happened in 12.8 on this. There's a lot more work scheduled for 12.9. We think we'll get the first version of these Git-based snippets out. I've got my fingers crossed for 13, so keep an eye out for that. Jumping back over to the release, that's the bulk of what we're going to be doing on the back end. On the front end, we've got a couple of things that I want to talk about. One of those is GitLab hosted Code Sandbox. So Code Sandbox powers our client-side live preview inside of the Web IDE. Maybe I'll show that off here in a second, but that's powered off there. And what we're doing is we are going to start hosting the required packages for that. Currently, we've always relied on Code Sandbox for that. We're going to have our own hosted version of that package, so we'll be able to tightly control those versions. It's also the first step in starting to enable this in self-managed instances by default. So finally making some good progress there, and I'm excited about that. In 12.7, you may remember that we removed staging from the Web IDE. We started staging all changes by default. And so in 12.9, what we'll be doing is we're actually going to remove staging from the Web IDE altogether. Now that we're staging everything by default, that staging workflow doesn't even make sense. And so what this will look like in 12.9 and moving forward is when you go and you make changes to files, we'll go ahead and commit those files, and we'll show you what changed. But we won't have a staged and unstaged area anymore. And so you can kind of see what that looks like in here. If I were to make a change to this file and I said, I think this will be the best release ever probably. And so if we do this and we hit commit, this is the current behavior where we stage all the changes. Nothing is unstaged. And so we're just going to get rid of this area and just show this unified as changes. And we're really trying to make this flow a lot faster and make a lot more sense for both technical and non-technical users as they go through the Web IDE here. Jumping back over to the board, one of the other ones that I'm excited about is we're still working on these syntax highlighting themes for the Web IDE. And so in 12.8, maybe early 12.9, we'll be shipping the dark syntax highlighting theme for the Web IDE. And so we talked about that in the last kickoff video. But in 12.9, we're going to go back and revisit the default white theme. So what that currently looks like in the Web IDE is this. It's the way it's always rendered, but the difference between that and our white theme in our project view, you can see in the screenshot here. And so we want to standardize these two things to make it more clear to users across the application that no matter what they're looking at, they're always seeing kind of the same cues from the highlighting and other things like that. And so in state, we'll get much more like this. We'll apply the current theme that's used in the repository and project view, and we'll apply that in the Web IDE. And so we've got that on target for 12.9. That sets us up for 12.10 to bring in, we think we might be able to bring in all 4 of the other themes that we support. So we've got a solarized dark theme, a solarized light theme, a Monokai theme, and then we've got like a none. We might not bring in the none, but we'll get to those other 3 and get them tossed in. And that looks like it for 12.9. So I'm really excited for it's not it for 12.9. One more thing that we should probably talk about is dark theme for the rest of the Web IDE. And so in 12.9, I'll be working with my product designer, and we're going to figure out what all that takes. The Web IDE, if we look here, is fairly complicated in terms of buttons and other things. And so there's quite a few UI patterns that we don't have inside of GitLab to handle basically inverting the colors across the board. And so we're going to explore those things and see what we can do. No ETA on when we'll implement the dark theme, but we're really working hard to try and get the entirety of the Web IDE dark. So I think 12.9 is shaping up to be one of the best releases ever for the Web IDE and for the editor group. And so we're looking forward to it. Thanks.